Hello everyone, this is Crochavie, and today we are going to make a bag, a Valentine's Day crocheted heart bag that you can put treats into. It is so easy, so quick. There are just a few things you need to get down, but this is a pattern, a free pattern from Country Women magazine. And what you're going to need for this is a size 5mm hook or size H hook, and a needle, a blunt needle, and then a worsted weight yarn. It calls for a worsted weight 100% cotton yarn. I won't be using that for this tutorial, but you can find some Valentine's colors, some red or pinks in a cotton, and use that, or whatever works for you. Whatever you have will work as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, now I have found for this project that you're going to want to go ahead and give yourself a nice size chain. When we start here, we are going to start with our slip knot. Okay, now we're going to start by chaining 4, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space in that chain and make larger chains here, because you will understand when we get a little further here. We're going to chain 4. Why you want them to be a decent size. So you're going to chain 4, and into this first chain that we made right here, we are going to work the following. We're going to start by putting 5 treble crochets into this first chain that we made. So 2 times over our hook, and we're going to go into that first chain and just work 5 treble crochets. Oops. And you don't want to be stitching tightly here, so just relax as you do your stitches so that everything lays out nicely. And I think this is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want to work our 5 treble crochet into that first chain that we created, and then we're going to work 4 double crochets into that same chain. You're going to be able to work this tail in a bit too, so any chance you get to start hiding your tail, do that. So that was 2 double crochets. Sorry about that shake of the camera. Okay, so we've created our 4 double crochets into that same chain, and then we're going to chain 1. We are going to work 1 treble 2 times around. We're going to chain 1 again, work 4 more double crochets into this same chain. Now you're probably understanding why we want to chain loosely at the beginning. It's a lot easier on you. and then we are going to work 5 more treble crochets into that same chain. That's our main hub, that little chain there. That's going to work all of our stuff here in the beginning. So that was 1 treble. 2. And here's our 5th treble. Oops. Now we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we are going to slip into the first chain made. From this row. Remember in the beginning, we chained 4. So we're slipping into the first chain. Right into that middle. Oops. Okay. And this is what you should have right now. And now we'll move on to round 2. We are not going to turn this, by the way. We're just going to work straight around again. So now we'll start round 2. Okay, for round 2, it has us start by chaining 2. Let's go ahead and chain 2. 1, 2. We are going to skip our beginning chains here from our previous row. You see that right there. Just skip that. And we are going to work into our first stitch here with 1 double crochet into each of our next 2. So we'll work 1 double crochet into this top right here. Trying to stay in the screen. 1 double crochet into the first, and 1 double crochet into the second. And now we're going to work 2 double crochets into our next stitch. So we'll do a little bit of an increase here into 1 stitch, or 2 double crochet. We are going to work 3 double crochet into this next stitch. Two double crochet into our next. One double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll work 1 into each. Oops. Now we're going to work 1 double crochet into our chain 1 space. See that space right there? We're going to work 1 into this area right here, not into a stitch. So 1 double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to work 1 treble crochet into our next stitch. So that was into the chain space right there, and we have this one right following it. We're going to work a treble, 2 times around into that stitch. If we can grab it, there we go. And then we're going to chain 1. We'll work 1 double crochet into the next chain space. So again, we are at, you'll see this right here, next chain space over. We're going to work 1 double crochet into that. And then we'll work 1 double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. We will work 2 double crochets into the next stitch. Three double crochets into our next stitch. 1, 2, and 3, all into that same stitch. We're going to work 2 double crochets into our next. One double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. We're going to skip our ending chains. We're going to chain 2. And we will slip into the first chain made. Okay, so just go down, you'll see the second right here. We're going to slip into the first chain made. All right, so now you are at the end of your heart. I'm sorry, I think I slipped into the wrong chain. Hang on just 1 second. Let's make sure I'm in the right place. That was 1 chain made, 2 chains made. We should be slipping right down into our first chain made. So you're going to see this better than I'm seeing it on my end from your end. So you have to count up from your chains here. We need to see we've skipped all of our chains. Let's just go over this real quick. In the beginning of our chain, or of our round 2, we chain 2. So as you see right here, we've got our 2 chain. Okay, this would have been our slip and this would have been our chain. 1 and 2. So we've slipped down here 1 and 2, and we're going to go into that first chain made. Okay, I'm sorry. I got a little confused with that first stitch right there. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this off. Just maybe do a chain and pull tight. And leave yourself a little bit of a tail that you can use to stitch your 2 hearts together. And that way, I don't know, maybe 12 inches. That way you're all together here. Okay, and that is our heart. We are going to create 2 of these, and then we'll come back and I will show you how to put these together. Okay, I just wanted to come back real quick to go over hiding tails. We didn't do that. We've got our 2 hearts, and of course we have a couple of tails here that we need to hide. Here's from our very first workaround, and you can just leave this a hole in the center. If you want to pull it a little tighter, you can do that as well. Just pull on that and close up the circle a little bit, but I think it looks fine that way. But for your center tail, my best suggestion to you on hiding this is to go around this whole inner area right here with the tail. Well, I mean, just go around as much as you think you need to before it's closed off enough, which isn't going to be a lot. You can even tighten up that circle in the middle if you wanted it to be more closed by doing this. It will help to take care of that. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and leave mine a little hole there, and I'm just going to work around this inner part right here. And then when you think you're finished enough, just go ahead and clip that off. Your scissors or whatever you have, and you don't even see it, and that's gonna hold that tight. But when we put our 2 pieces together, we are going to be doing that on the wrong side, which this is the wrong side. We just clipped our tail on this end, and you can clearly see the difference between the right and the wrong side. The right side is all pretty and nice, and the wrong side is pretty and nice too, but you can see a little more of the bumps and the lumps and the this and that. So you will clearly see what side is your wrong side. That is our right side. Now for our tail, along the top, just do your best to hide that in without disrupting any of your stitches, because we did stitch pretty loose throughout this, and we've got a lot of trebles in here and such. So what I will do is I'll just go into like a nearby and pull it through. I'll just come through to the other side with this, since the other side will be closed off, hidden off when we attach the 2 pieces. And then just find areas that you can work your tail into the back section to lock that tail. You can even come back into that center. Just go down through your stitches. See, our needle is not showing on the other side. We're going into the stitches and just pull your tail through to hide that off. Don't pull it too tight. You want to keep your heart shape perfect. So I'll just go ahead and go in a little bit more in this center section. And like I said, with these tails, there isn't a whole lot of hiding that you need to do before it's secure enough in place that they won't come out. So we've hidden our tails, and we have our pretty heart. And the next part of this tutorial is going to be putting our 2 hearts together. Okay, so now we are putting our hearts together. We did leave a tail. Putting our hearts together, the pattern tells us that we are going to attach from the 3rd double crochet from the indentation at the top of the heart. So here's our indentation, and our 3rd double crochet, if you look over here, we did our chain, and then we've got 1, 2, 3 double crochets. So my tail is here. You do not have to leave a tail. You can just start with an open strand of yarn. That's fine. But I went ahead and left a tail, and what I'm going to do, And that may actually not work for me. I may need to grab another yarn, but if I left a good enough size tail, and we will find out, I'm going to weave it up to that third double crochet. So I'm just weaving through the stitches here. And I actually do not think this is going to work. I'm going to have to, I don't think this is going to work for the sizing on this. This will work if you just want to stitch your hearts together using your blunt needle and just doing a regular stitch throughout. But if you are following the pattern, I just wasted yarn here. I'm going to go ahead and hide this tail off real quick. Now I've got a scrap piece of yarn I can use in another project. But don't leave a tail. I'm going to have to put a note in there in the last section of the video. The pattern tells us to put our wrong sides together. Okay, so I've got a right side, I've got a wrong side. We want to put our two wrong sides together. And make sure you're lined up. And it tells us, like I had said just a minute ago, that we are going to attach our yarn in the third double crochet from the indentation at the top of the heart. So again, our third double crochet is 1, 2, 3 from this section here, 1, 2, 3. And we need to make sure we are in the same section on the other side when we join in here. So 1, 2, 3. I'll focus that is. So our third stitch here. And you probably do better to flip that in or flip the other side so you can see it. But we're going to go ahead and attach. And I am going to attach on one side here first before I get started. So I will take my one heart. I'm going to go ahead and join my yarn in. All right. We will be going through both layers, but I'm just going to go ahead and get this joined. And find the stitch on the other heart. Remember to look for that 1, 2, 3. We'll be using this and this. And you just want to make sure you're joined up there. You're going to work single crochets in and through both layers of that heart. Make sure we're totally even up here. We are. We're going to work a single crochet into our first. We'll get that in place there. Then you can pull that tail tight back here. We'll finish that off in the end. But you're going to go through each, like I said, both layers, and go around and do a single crochet in through the front and then out through the back. Make sure you're grabbing that whole single crochet in the back as well. I don't know if I can focus this in any better here, but we're just going to work single crochets around each of the stitches around, including each of our chain spaces. So when you get to a chain space, don't forget to make a single crochet into that chain space as well. And you don't have to be real tight with this. or you can be, however you crochet. I usually crochet pretty tight, depending on what I'm making. When I'm making any kind of stuffed animals, amigurumi, any of that kind of stuff, I'm a very tight stitcher for some reason. And it does sometimes make things a little difficult. But I'm going to try to get through this with you, through this whole process. And as you can see, this is all really easy. So now we both understand. This is my first time making this entire thing through. I've been making several hearts here, but we're coming up to our chain space. You'll see this. First, we're going to go ahead and come into our next stitch. Oops, 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 oops. All the way through. I'm going to have to do this one again. Okay, then we've got our chain one space. So we want to make sure we make one into our chain one space. Make sure it's a chain one space on the opposite side as well. And then you'll be making one into that stitch, right? Just following that chain one space. Excuse me. Into with that treble crochet in the top portion. All the way through there. Okay. And that keeps it from folding up on us, and it keeps with our shape of everything here. So we're coming back. We've got a stitch right here. You might have to do a little manipulating to make sure you catch what you need to stitch here. And then we're in that chain one space again. So we're going to go ahead and work one into the space and then one straight into that next stitch. All right. So we're coming back up through. We want to end in the same space as we did on the opposite side. So we're going to work these single crochets up till we get to our third from the right, our third double crochet from the right. So, because if you remember correctly, the last stitches we made the 2 double crochet and then the one there will be 3 double crochets at the end. So just go into each of your deals and make sure that you are stopping in the right space. Okay, now I'm going to check this and make sure that I don't go too far. It should be right up here. We see 1, 2, 3. So we have 2 more single crochets to make. 1 and oh no, I just pulled up a strand there. Okay, so we've got in our last third. Okay, we've got, actually we're going to go into that third double crochet. So we will do 1 more here so that we are lined up equally on both sides. And work a single crochet. Okay, so we have stitched our 2 together, and at this point, this gives us that opening on the top for our treats. We're going to go ahead and finish off. On these kinds of projects, I'll just chain one, wait just a little bit, tail to weave in, not as much as I just did. But we have our 2 sides stitched together, right sides together. You can see that. And then we have this nice little opening here that you could fit. Oh, you could fit several treats into. You could fit a bunch of Hershey Kisses. You could fit little mini candy bars, anything. But then we're just going to take this tail, weave it in. What I would do is I would just kind of turn this in a little bit, put your blunt needle in there, and just weave it in a little bit in through here so that you don't see any of that. And then of course you can't forget that tail on the other side there. So make sure you weave this in as well. But then when you are finished, you have an adorable little treat bag for Valentine's Day. You can make these for your child's classroom for them to hand out for Valentine's Day. They are really quick and easy. Obviously the tutorial takes a little longer just to get through all of it and with the explanations, but to make one of these hearts, I made it in, I mean, it was minutes. It didn't take very long at all. And then, you know, you just go through and crochet them both together. You're looking at definitely a project in less than an hour. I would say that, you know, if you're pretty comfortable with the craft of crochet, that you should be able to make at least 2 of these bags in an hour. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. The information for the pattern is down in the description below. This is our Power Hour projects that can be made in under 2 hours, hopefully less than an hour. And this is great for Valentine's Day, so make sure you make up plenty of these for your kids, for the classroom, you name it, the teachers. Great, great gift bags. So thank you for joining us today. This is Colleen, or Crochavsie. Visit us at YarnWars on Facebook or yarnwars.com, and please subscribe. Have a great day.